I'm a real light entertainer, boy. Hey, tell me, Fear. Keep that same energy when you see me. Cause you speaking on my name. And your team ain't sent me a goddamn thing. I don't do no capping. I'm a real light entertainer, boy.
Well, it is what it is. It's a great match. It makes sense. Let's get it on at the end of the day. A lot of people's, misunderstanding. I've got a heart to burn, a pair of balls to burn, and I know he hasn't at the end of the day. But, the quick to sharp calling everyone out. Everyone's calling me out. Who doesn't want to fight me?
What's good, family? Smash that like button and subscribe. So we just heard there from Tommy. Tommy the Chinless One Theory. And Deontay, Wilder's brother. Marsellous, the Chinless One, Wilder. Now again, just in case you man don't know, Tommy Fury is Tyson Fury's brother, and Marsellous Wilder is Deontay Wilder's brother. So before we get into the whole technical aspect, I want to see this fight. 100%. Actually, truth be known, I'll be looking forward to this fight on the undercard more than anything. Arguably more than the actual main card, truth be known. Wilder vs Fury isn't an attraction on its own, in my opinion. I want to see Marsellous Wilder versus Tommy Fury. That'll be perfect. I can't remember the last time I've actually looked forward to watching an undercard fight. I would tune in for that one for sure. 1,000,000% I want to see that. This has story, it has everything. They've both got absolutely no chin. We've seen Marsellous Wilder the very bare bones chinless. Yeah? He's got no chin whatsoever. The first thing that touches Marsellous Wilder, he's out. Just like Tommy Fury. Now, people will say, YB, what are you talking about? What do you mean the first thing that lands on Tommy Fury is going to be spark out? Well, if you man don't know, Tommy Fury is John Fury's son. And guess what? The tape's out there. The black skeleton looking ass. Black Skeletor. Squared up. Falling backwards. He put a little rangefinder out there. The rangefinder woofed. I wonder. Normally, when people talk about punches, we talk about he punched him, he touched him. I'm saying he woofed him. It wasn't a full connection. It was more wind than physical connection. Black skeleton looking ass woofed John Fury's chin, and he went spark out. That's how he went out. Spark out. Yeah, it's how he went. Let me do a bit of translation for you, man, in case you don't understand what I mean. Let me convert it into bare knuckle. Spark out. Yeah, that's how he went. He was all the way out. His neck was clenching. He was looking down on himself. His abdominals were tensing up. He was almost busting all over himself. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a man who's almost like, I've heard of this thing here. Sometimes when they're breeding cattle, sometimes they use electrodes. They get the electrodes and they put the electrodes on the prostate, I believe, or something like that, and the electrode stimulates the bull until he nuts. That's what John Fury looked like he was having. It looked like black skeleton looking ass. Rather than using the electrode, black skeleton looking ass hit John Fury right on his nerve ending in his chin, and that started sending electrical impulses down to his lower half, and that, consequently, whilst John Fury's legs went stiff because of the electro-neural communications, which obviously, as we saw, his legs were gone. Yeah, when your legs goes, that's because the messages ain't being sent. Black skeleton touched John Fury's chin, and that cut off the messages being sent from his brain to his legs. He completely lost his legs. But in doing so, it also, rather than sending the messages to his legs to stand up, it started sending it to his piece. And consequently, rather than remaining standing, he ended up on his back and busting. And you know, that makes sense. He ended up on his back and busting all over himself. Because it weren't his legs that were standing up. Yeah? He got all his wires twisted up. 1 minute, John Fury standing there. Black skeleton looking ass. Clips his chin. those same messages, which were telling his legs to stand up, ended up going to his dingaling. And that made his dingaling stand up instead. So he fell on the floor, legs were gone, that message went the wrong way, got rewired. That's what happens. When the black skeleton hits you on the chin, gets all your wires all mixed up. Yeah? The messages rerouted to his dingaling. Consequently, he ended up on his back, legs gone, and busting. You can watch it yourself. Tell me what you think. You can see it. His neck's all clenched. It's nothing. It's craziness. No doubt. Now, I'll give you that background to say that if that same man, John Fury, bred, and what happens when people breed, they pass on. They pass on alleles. No doubt. They pass on the alleles, the genetic information. And what do we know about John Fury's chin? We know that John Fury's genes, there ain't no cast iron. There ain't no cast iron alleles. There ain't no cast iron genes in John Fury's set, is there? Yeah? His chromosomes, they're missing. Listen, people talk about, oh, you know, he's got Down syndrome. No, John Fury ain't got Down syndrome. The one he's missing a few alleles in the chin department. Yeah, he didn't get that set. John Fury suffers from a very particular genetic disease, where he's just missing the ones that ones that normal humans have, the one for chin. He ain't got that one. That one's gone. Well, sorry, that's not gone. He never had it. John Fury never had the chin gene, which means that all of it's almost like any of you man who breed any animals, yeah. When I don't know, these days, yeah, they can breed all kinds of crazy things like yellow dogs and stuff, or bright pink dogs and stuff like that. Crazy stuff. They've got this whole fluorescent thing now. Yeah? Guess what? John Fury, he got the one with no chin. You understand? In years from now, hundreds of years from now, they'll study John Fury for the one to play around with no chin. Because John Fury is one of the first humans to have absolutely no chin. Yeah? He's a genetic anomaly when it comes to the chin department. Got none of it. Got absolutely none. So in the future, when some parent wants to troll their children, they'll code them with like, for example, some people want their kids to have blue eyes or to be 6 foot tall. Trust me, if someone wants their children to have no chin, they'll have to look to John Fury. They'll have to analyze. I think it's called CRISPR. CRISPR, yeah, is a machine which decodes DNA. They'll be getting CRISPR on John to work out where no chin is. Yeah, to work out what. Trust me, when scientists end up trying to figure out what is the DNA code for no chin, John Fury will know 100%. They'll be getting CRISPR out on John Fury. I've already seen the paperwork. CRISPR, yeah, have sent out a letter to John Fury and said, John Fury, when you pass on, we'd love to study your genes. We'd love to study your DNA. Yeah. For the end of the day, it's for human research. We need to know, for future generations, it'd be great to know what DNA you're missing, so that in like hundreds of years or tens of years from now, hopefully, people won't be born with the same affliction you've got. That's what CRISPR. I read the letter. That's what CRISPR is saying. CRISPR is saying, John Fury, we know you suffer with the affliction of, you know what I'm saying? The no chin, the completely chinless affliction. So others in the future don't have to suffer with that. We know that, listen, end of the day, and I actually saw the letter, and I felt quite bad for John, because in a way they were kind of guilt-tripping him, saying, oh, John, listen, you've had kids, and if you don't want your great-great-great-grandkids to have the same problem, we can kind of nip it in the bud. If you just pass us your, you know what I'm saying, if we can study you, then hopefully Tommy Fury's son's son won't have to suffer with the same thing that you man, all of you might have to go through. You understand? That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. CRISPR, the Dr. Dons, the researching Dons don't want other humans to have to go through what John Fury has been going through. The reason John Fury's career had to end. Because people talk about, it was a life-threatening injury. John Fury had career-threatening chin DNA. Yeah? DNA on his chin was threatened his career. In fact, it ended his career. His career's over. In fact, he got the last 2 fights. You man tell me, was or was not John Fury's chin DNA the determining factor in the end of his career? Absolutely it was. Because his career ended spark out. That's how his career ended. Twice. If his DNA wasn't moody, yeah, if he had the proper set of alleles, John Fury would be still boxing today. In fact, better yet, John Fury would be still boxing Mickey Theo. Do you understand? Just think about the fans, John. End of the day, John, yeah? Think of all the things the fans haven't got to see. We would have loved to have seen you versus Lennox, or you versus Mickey Theo, but because of your moody chin genes, your moody chin DNA, you've now got to go and buy a trailer and go and run off somewhere, go and hide somewhere instead, rather than facing it up. No doubt. Anyway, where was I? I got digressed there, but end of the day, man, what we know is Marcellus Wilder and Tommy Fury have been calling each other out. Marcellus Wilder, we've already seen him play out, because I'm sure there's people who are going to say, oh, YB, you've just spent 5-10 minutes going on about John Fury's chin, but you don't understand why it's relevant. I need to explain to you why this fight's so exciting. Because we know Marcellus Wilder. We've already seen how Marcellus Wilder and his, what would you call it, and his genetic limitations, we've already seen them play out. Yeah? You can watch the fight on YouTube. Even though PBC and Deontay Wilder's cover-up team tried to get rid of the footage. I think the man's called something Long. Is it Darren Long? I'm not sure. Marcellus Wilder fights someone called Long. Yeah, Long laid him out. He got laid out for a long time. My dog Darren Long laid Marcellus all the way out for him. Exposed his moody Eritrean chin genes. So we know Marcellus ain't got the genes either. And that's what makes now it comes round circle for you, man. This is why it's so exciting, because we've got two individuals. For a long time, John Fury fought 20-30 years ago. For a long time it was believed that John Fury was the sole owner of this chinless DNA. Do you understand? For a long time, 30 years. For 30 years, scientists believed that John Fury was the only living case of the absolutely chinless. And then Deontay Wilder started boxing. And then his brother, Marcellus Wilder, started boxing. Lo and behold, Marcellus Wilder comes up against some Don called Long. Some random Donny called Long. Long hits Marcellus Wilder with... It's an alright shot, but he wasn't Golovkin. Marcellus Wilder wasn't in there with Golovkin. Marcellus Wilder was in there with some randomer. Hits him once, and Marcellus goes out exactly... This is kind of scary, actually. Marcellus Wilder goes out exactly the same way as John Fury did 30 years ago. Scientists all around the world were amazed and so thankful that, wow, we found another case of the John Fury chinless gene. And there you go. So now there's two. Yeah, we now know there's two lineages. There's two hereditary lineages of this chin deformity. John Fury has it. John Fury's passed it on in his lineage. Tyson Fury has no chin. Tommy Fury has no chin. And also, it's in the Eritrean Deontay Wilder gene. Deontay Wilder lineage too. Guess what? Wilder's pointy chin. Wilder's got a very extremely pointy chin, which means when anything chips it, it creates too much, because of the leverage. When you have a pointy chin, yeah, it creates too much leverage. It means your head goes spinning too much, which makes your brain rattle. Yeah? Any of you man who are into physics, what happens when things are longer, there's more leverage there. Wilder's pointy chin, he tries to cover it with a beard, but it's pointy, which means that when you chip your knuckles on the end of it, that's it, game over. And if you don't believe me, you can watch Wilder go out in the amateurs against Fury. Simple as that. And Marcellus Wilder, again, that Don, Long, his name's Long, his second name's Long. When Long hit Marcellus Wilder, it's a beautiful shot to be fair, but it wasn't nothing meaty. He nested it. I think it was a left hook. He nested it right on the end of his pointy Eritrean chin, and that was it. He ended up just like, almost, no word of a lie, he ended up just like John Fury, on his side, legs gone, and then messages were being rerouted to his ting, and he ended up busting all over himself. No joke, you can see it on the side. He's on the. He's no word of a lie. You have to watch it. You have to watch it to believe it. He's on it. So the message that the neuromuscular control gets rerouted from his legs. So he ends up not. His legs end up betraying him. He ends up flat on his side. His abdominals are clenching. His neck's clenching. And then obviously he ends up nutting all over himself. It's quite sad to watch. It's quite sad to watch a big man end up powerless on his side. Yeah? Just nutting. And you can watch both of them. It's quite amazing how similar they are. John Fury's on his back, nutting all over himself. And Marcellus Wilder is giving it the side one. The side beat from the back. The side beat from the back is what Marcellus Wilder's doing. No doubt, 100%. So anyway, you man, now you can, or hopefully you can appreciate why this fight is so exciting now, because you've got two men. This fight is literally 2 out of 7 billion. There's only 2 men, or 8 billion now. There's only 2 men. Or there's only two genetic lineages with this particular deformity. The Wilders carry it, no doubt, 100%, and the Furies carry it. Both of them two, you just never know who's going to go out first. You never know when their chin is going to give up. No doubt, 100%. We've already seen Marcellus Wilder is ready to go at any given point in time. Tommy Fury, we know his dad's his dad. Like I said earlier, the only hope Tommy Fury's got is that maybe his mum was playing away and that John Fury weren't his real dad. But by the looks of things, by the looks of Tommy Fury's last fight, 100% confirmed. John Fury is the father, because we saw your chin. You was in there with some next 2-0 randomer with 2 days notice, and he had your Barnett rattling all over the place. He had you clinging on for dear life, looking like Logan Paul in there. No doubt. Some random 2-0 novice had Tommy Fury clinging on for dear life. Now that's a man, trust me. The way Tommy Fury was clinging on to a 2-0 2-day notice Don, yeah, that's a man who's protecting something. Do you understand? Because I've never seen an up-and-coming prospect who's been boxing for 15 years like Tommy Fury need to cling on to a 2-0 novice on 2 days notice. I've never seen anything like it. Everyone I know who's got a decent chin and is a prospect who's been doing it for 15 years, they end up smoking the novices, they go in there. Tommy Fury went life and death, 50-50, and was clinging on in doing so. Why do you think that was? Because, and that's another thing, the reason Tommy Fury is so good at clinging on, he's got a lot of practice of it. Because when you've got that kind of genetic deformity, when your chin will just betray you at any given point in time, when your chin is liable to do you like Judas, yeah, and John Fury knows a lot about the Judas chin, because he's the one who, you know what I'm saying, he's the one who passed it on. And that's why people say to me, why is John Fury so protective over his son? Listen, if you had Judas chin, you'd be protective too. You understand? Have you never, any one of you man who has a disability, yeah, whenever you go to, or whenever you're about to have kids, you worry about passing it on, yeah? You worry about passing it on to your kids, don't you? If you've got a disability or whatever, you worry, I wonder how it's going to affect my kids. That's what John Fury's only human. He worries about how his chinless gene is going to affect his children. And that's why he was put... What do you think Tommy Fury's been in there with people who are... What was it? People who are 0-19. Never won a fight. Do you think that's a coincidence? Why is Tommy Fury in there clinging on, grabbing, clinching for dear life with a 2-0 novice? He's protecting the crown jewels. He's protecting that moody DNA. Because trust me, I've seen the CRISPR. Yeah? I've seen the CRISPR analysis of John Fury's passed on genes to Tommy Fury, and it's not good news. Not even a bit of a good news, is it? Yeah? It only takes, you know, like, if we're talking about the level of pressure, the normal human chin takes about 10 kilos of pressure. 10 pascals of pressure, yeah? Tommy Fury ain't taking even one. You understand? You only have to briskly brush Tommy Fury's whiskers, and he's going, spark out, is how he's going. That's just it. People are going to be mad. It is what it is. I'm just telling you. So that's why, anyone who's wondering, that's why we must see this fight. Because it's the battle of the chinless ones. Marcellus Wilder has no chin. Tommy Fury has no chin. The fight must happen. And that's what makes the Wilder fight versus... you know what I mean? It's quite amazing, really. Because even the fight, the big fight, Wilder and Fury, Tyson and Deontay, they're both the same. Look at the first fight. Fury went spark out almost. Second fight, Wilder went spark out almost. So that just proves everything I've been saying. And then obviously we've got the latest fights with Marcellus Wilder versus that Don called Long. Darren Long had him all the way out. Darren Long had Marcellus Wilder on his John Fury imitation versus the Black Skeleton, no doubt, 100%. And then Tommy Fury in there with some random 2-0 novice. And we can see that, we just know now, it's not going to take much. It's not going to take British level. It really will be the first person to hit Tommy Fury half sharp. He's going all the way out. I'm telling you right now. I can see the writing on the wall. Yeah, when a 2-0 novice can bounce your head around the place and have you clinging on for dear life, yeah, it's not going to end well. And it's all kind of adding up now. Wait there, why is Tommy Fury fighting people who are 0-19? Why is Tommy Fury begging for Jake Paul? Oops, now we know. Because we've heard, oh, Tommy's been doing this for 15 years. We can hear about all the 15 years you want. And that really says it all to me. If you've been boxing for so long, since you was born, why is the equation not making sense? Because normally, these boxing prodigies, they're lethal. Like Lomachenko or whatever. Like Floyd Mayweather. How can you be boxing for 15 years and be having this much trouble? Oops. Because you can have all the you can have all the experience you want. If your whiskers have got some defect code in them, which says that any brisk, you know what I'm saying? It's only going to take a woof to put you out. You know what I'm saying? It's only going to take a woof to have you laying flat on your back, with your neck clenching and your abdominals busting all over yourself. It is what it is, isn't it? You can do all the training you want. And that's what Tommy Fury's been doing. He's been doing all the training he wants. Why do you think he ran onto Love Island for? You think it's a coincidence? You think someone who has a promising boxing career runs onto Love Island? No. He's an opportunist. That's why he's begging for Jake Paul. And that's why I don't think this fight will happen. I want it to happen. I want to see the battle of the chinless ones. I want to see the battle of the chinless brothers. No doubt. 100%. Marcellus versus Tommy. But I don't think we'll see it because Tommy, he's scared to get touched. And Marcellus is equally scared to get touched because it only takes one. This isn't going to be a barn burner. Yeah? Because people forget the reason the great fights are barn burners. Do you know why that's the case? Because these great fighters, through natural selection, or through survival of the fittest, yeah? The reason great fights happen between great fighters is because naturally, the strongest survive. So the best chins get to the top, which means what happens when you've got two of the best chins fighting for undisputed, for example? That means chances are no one's going to spark out. It's going to be a back and forth kind of thing. Golovkin versus Alvarez, perfect example of that. No one goes down, no one gets rocked because they've got the pinnacle of chins. That's the pinnacle. There's a flip side to the pinnacle, and that's what this fight would be. Golovkin versus Alvarez, that's the top end. The bottom end of that, the opposite of that, is Marcellus versus Tommy. The first thing half sharp from either of them, and you'll just see them. The legs will go, and you'll see the abs clench up, and they'll go rock hard, and they'll be nutting all over themselves, no doubt. That's the intrigue here. And to be honest, like I said, it's the same as the Tyson versus Deontay fight. They're both chinless too. The first thing that lands on them, they go out. Call me a liar. Call me a liar. The first thing that Deontay hit Fury with, or Tyson with, he was out. Second fight, same again. The first meat, don't forget, Tyson Fury wasn't throwing meaty shots in the first fight. Flicky little jabs, that's never going to knock no one out. Guess what? Second fight. Tyson Fury, for the first time, given that the first fight he didn't do anything, So in that second fight, that was the first time Tyson Fury threw anything meaty. What happened then? Everything Tyson Fury threw meaty, Wilder went spark out. So I've been telling everyone for years, Deontay Wilder has defective Eritrean pointy chin genetics. I said that long before this happened. Same as Tyson Fury. No one wanted to listen. No one wanted to listen. I told you, the genetic lineage is impaired. Yeah? And that's just what it is. And I demand to see this fight, but I don't think it will happen because, like I said, they know this now. There's a reason Tommy Fury's begging for Jake Paul. He wants to cash out before his chin gets exposed. No doubt, 100%.